Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Mr. Ismail Rahu, Minister, Universities and Boards, Honorable Members of the National and Provincial Assembly, Mr. Murid Rahimu, Secretary, Universities and Boards, Dr. Tariq Rafi, Chairman HEC, Vice Chancellor, Mehran University, Professor Dr. Taha Hussain Ali, Honorable Vice Chancellors of other universities in the province, former Vice Chancellors of Mehran University, respected members of the Academic Council, the Senate and the Syndicate, distinguished guests, proud parents of the graduating students today, and the chief guests of today's event, the graduates graduating today. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon. I would like to thank the Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Taha Hussain Ali, members of the Senate and faculty of Mehran University of Engineering and Technology, and MUET Shahid Bhutto Campus Khairpur Mears for inviting me on this auspicious graduation ceremony. I am indeed honored to be here today. To start, I would like to congratulate from the core of my heart the passing out graduates, the faculty, and most of all, the proud parents. For all of you, it is indeed a memorable day. I am highly elated to be among you people today who belong to an alma mater that claims glory, history, excellence, and reverence. I am pleased to be warmly welcomed by you. Being an engineer, I can very well relate to the feeling you have upon being the recipients of this life-changing degrees from this reputable institution of Mehran University. Professor, the Vice Chancellor spoke about his favorite batch, the batch of 18. I am from the batch of 18, I am from the batch of 80. But that is another university and another century. It's been a long time, more than 40 years since I started off at a university. I tell you, those started off for, it was planned to be 4 years. It ended up being 5.5 years. And we graduated, and that day I still remember, though unfortunately we've still not had a convocation. I'm still looking forward to the Vice Chancellor trying to award me a degree, because I've never been awarded a degree. I had to go to an office and get it from a clerk. So, perhaps all of us who missed this memorable day would one day get a degree from a chief guest and be proud about it. But I'm sure all the graduates today are very proud for getting their degrees. You'd start a new life today. Those of you who have graduated, done your bachelor's, some would go on to the job market, others would start doing their masters. The 55 master's candidates would probably start off, some would go and do their PhDs, others would start practical lives. And the 13 proud doctors today who were the doctoral candidates and have been awarded degrees today would start off in academia, in service, or in postdoctoral work. I congratulate all of you. The Vice Chancellor presented a report on Mehran University, and I'm delighted to know that Mehran University has been categorized as a distinguished public sector engineering university at the national and international level. First in the province of Sindh and second in Pakistan. However, Mehran has phenomenal potential to rank among the top 100 universities of the world, and I'm sure that this task would also be achieved soon. I have a long written speech here, but I don't want to go through these written pages and talk about them. You're starting a new phase in your life. One thing that I noticed, I think everybody has noticed this, I went through the book that was given to me. I'm chairing the second session. The first session was chaired by Dr. Suresh Lodhi. I believe the third session is going to be chaired by Dr. Tariq Rafi. And I went through all of them. Congratulations to the girls, the women who performed exceptionally well. More power to the women of this country. We are proud to have had the first Muslim female Prime Minister, and I'm sure that the graduating students too, especially the women, will excel in life. Your effect has been so dominating. We went through the entire list. All the positions of the first positions, the top positions, were taken by girl students except for one, the environmental engineering department. And even there, I guess the word processor has got some autocorrect, and it says Mr. So-and-so, son of so-and-so, and it goes on to say she is the first position holder awarded silver medal. So even the computer doesn't recognize men anymore. This, and I'll name him Rauf Khan, you must be exceptionally good to have beaten these smart women here. And as I said, more power to the women. You are the future of this life, and especially, parents are here, the father sitting there, the mother sitting in the center, and I'd like to especially congratulate the mothers who must have raised these bright young children. And one of the high notes, while I was awarding the doctoral degrees, one of the high notes was when a doctoral candidate came over and I congratulated the candidate, and in return the reply was, it is all because of my mother who's sitting in the audience. So I congratulate the mothers who've raised such bright young boys and girls who inshallah will make you proud, who will make this university proud, the province proud, and the country proud. Dr. Taha told me about the energy issues, and he spoke about building a solar park of about 5 megawatts, and he said we've got adequate land. I've already ordered on that application, and I'll tell the Minister of Energy, and I'll request Minister, Universities and Boards to follow that up so that you have alternate cheap electricity and dependable electricity, because unfortunately apart from the several crises that we are facing, energy crisis is one of them. Before I end this, I got the chance of again printing this out here. There's a note that I read whenever I go to an engineering university and I address the commencement. I want to tell the engineering students what their importance is. And your importance, recently we've had these massive floods. 1/3 of the country was underwater. Almost 6 billion people were displaced. Thousands died. Tens of thousands were injured. We had the loss and damage estimate for the country is about $30 billion. The damage assessment or the rehabilitation assessment is about $16 billion. And this is where the engineers are going to play a great role in rebuilding the country, rebuilding it better, rebuilding it to be climate resilient. So you engineers, we as politicians, we as governors of this province rely a lot on you, and I'm sure that you will come up to this province and to this expectation. I would just like to read out a few lines from an article which was published in 1954 by a former president of the United States who was an engineer, actually came from my alma mater in the US. And this is an article that President Herbert Hoover wrote in 1954, and it's a long article. I'll just read out a few lines from it. And he talks about the engineering profession, and he says, and I quote, "It is a great profession. There is the fascination of watching a figment of the imagination emerge through the aid of science to a plan on paper. Then it moves to realization in stone or metal or energy. Then it brings jobs and homes to men. Then it elevates the standards of living and adds to the comforts of life. That's the engineer's high privilege." He goes on to say, he talks about the liability of the engineer. "The great liability of the engineer compared to men of other professions is that his works are out in the open where all men can see them. His acts, step by step, are in hard substance." With no offense to the doctors present here, he cannot bury his mistakes in the grave like doctors. With the lawyers present here, I see some lawyers here also. He cannot argue them into thin air or blame the judge like the lawyers. He cannot, and I'll skip this because this is about architects and I don't want to, there are architects here, I'll skip this part. I'll include myself. He cannot, like politicians, screen his shortcomings by blaming his opponents and hope that people will forget. The engineer simply cannot deny that he did it. If his works do not work, he is damned. Unlike the doctor, his is not a life among the weak. Unlike the soldier, destruction is not his purpose. Unlike the lawyer, quarrels are not his daily bread. To the engineer falls the job of clothing the bare bones of science with life, comfort, and hope. No doubt, as years go by, people forget which engineer did it, even if they ever knew, or some politician put his name on it, or they credit to some promoter who uses other people's money or finance to finance it. But the engineer himself looks back at his unending stream of goodness which flows from his successes with satisfaction that few professions may know, and the verdict of his fellow professionals is all the accolade he wants. So, dear fellow engineers, do good, build better, contribute to the development of this university, development of this province, and the development of this country, development of the world, because the world is, as you all know, is a global village now. But whatever you do in life, remember, and I really like the gesture of the Honorable Vice Chancellor when he asked you to give a standing ovation to your parents sitting in front of me and to your teachers sitting with me on this stage. Never forget and remember that your parents are the ones because of whom you've today entering practical life and you've graduated. Never forget your teachers or your alma mater. Try to give back to the alma mater whenever you're able to. And most of all, I remember my 5.5 years at my undergraduate university here in Pakistan. don't forget your peers, don't forget your fellow students. You've learned from each other. You've spent at least 4 years. I don't know how long it has taken them to graduate. In our times, we were slow, so it used to take a longer time to graduate. But remember your peers, remember your fellow students. You would give to each other now and remember it for the rest of your lives. Once again, I congratulate all of you for the graduating class of, I think it's 1-7 and 1-8, the master's students, the PhD doctorate students who graduated today. I wish you all the best in whatever your future endeavors are. I hope that whatever you learn here, you put to good knowledge. Whatever knowledge you could put that knowledge to good use. And as I said, contribute back to the society, contribute back to this world. And inshallah ta'ala, you will find success in your future life. I wish you Godspeed. Congratulations once again. And thank you very much once again for inviting me here today. Pakistan Zindabad.